Okay, one of the methods that we need to talk to the students about factoring is greatest common factor, and it's one of the easiest methods of factoring, but it's very confusing it can be very confusing to the students. So what I have my students do is I ask them to put basically an upside down division sign, and then out here record what it is they know that goes into both of these terms. A lot of times the kids will say, hey, there's an A in both of these terms, and I have to frame that conversation for them. And I'll say, okay, I'm going to take an A out by division, and that'll give me 1, and I'm going to take an A out by division, and it will actually take the square off of this. So now I have the students write what they have left over, and then I ask them to tell me what will divide into both of those terms now, and they'll usually tell me 7. And when I divide that out, I get a C, and when I divide it out into this one, I get 3, and I get A. The reason why I like this method is that the terms that are here on the left become that greatest common factor, and the stuff that's left over in the binomial form is what goes in the parentheses. And I have a better chance of getting my students to put them in that form where they have something in the parentheses and they have that greatest common factor out. Another thing that I like about this method is it really doesn't matter which factor the kids see first. If they saw 7 and then they took the A out, they're going to get the same greatest common factor. And so here's another opportunity to talk about the commutative property. And that it really doesn't matter which order they take the division in. And it's an important conversation to have with the kids, because sometimes when the students are looking at each other's work, they think they automatically got it wrong because they divided in a different order. And it's just a great opportunity to talk about that commutative property again.
And even if they saw 7A as both of them being factors to start with, they're still going to end up with that C minus 3A at the end.
Right. Okay, I've got this trinomial that I'm going to factor by greatest common factor, and I suspect that there's a greatest common factor because I can see an A in each of these. And ironically, when I wrote this, I thought there was going to be a B, but there's not on inspection. Alright, so I would ask my students what is common to all 3 of these terms, and I would have my students tell me that it was A. And again, I'm going to stress that I'm dividing into this. A lot of times kids don't understand that greatest common factor is by division. It's not just taking out. So I'm going to divide and get 1. And it's important to have that conversation about the fact that 1 is left here, because a real common mistake that students will have is that they'll do that division and just put nothing there. So now I'm going to divide the A here, and I'm going to divide here. So this is what is in my parentheses, and this is my greatest common factor. A good practice, a good conversation to have with your students is, if it's greatest common factor and we factored out of a trinomial, we should have a trinomial inside of those parentheses.